Welcome to Influence Matters, a show that teaches you how to turn your story into impact and your expertise into influence. I am your host and literary consultant, Clara Rose, and each week I cover topics that are related to crafting your message for the world and building influence for your business, ministry, cause, or brand. Of course, sometimes I do bring you a special guest who's doing something interesting or unique that I think you might be interested in, and I'll bring them on. And today is one of those days. So let me tell you about our special guest for today. She is a leadership coach and facilitator and a strategic consultant with a background in education and has been an entrepreneur business owner for over 7 years. She's the founder of Allie Jones Consulting, giving her name away there, where she works with mission driven leaders and organizations to foster intentional growth through coaching, group facilitation, and professional development. She is a certified Enneagram and working genius coach, and she brings strength based, human centered approach to everything that she does. So, she's right up my alley. Her work is grounded in clarity, effectiveness, and helping people thrive at work and at life. And so please help me welcome Allie Jones. Are you with me? There you are, Allie. Welcome to the
Oh,
show.
thank you so much for having me.
It is my pleasure. Now, of course, I read just a little bit about you, but I always like to give my guests an opportunity to really say what it is that they do because sounds so flowery and formal, but what do you really do? Tell us.
Yeah, so Allie Jones Consulting is a business that I'm building where I really help people with three concentric circles: leading themselves well, leading others well, and then leading the work well. And so I was really excited to connect with your audience who has something to say and wants to impact people through that. And I think really at the root of that, it starts with that self awareness and being able to understand yourself and how you show up so that you can have that influence on other people and have an impact on the work and the thing you're here to do. And so I love guiding people through that process.
I love that. I love that your work is so centered around um, assessments and understanding us as as people. I love in your bio where it says, you know, human centered or human, whatever the wording was that. I'm like, yes, that's such an important part of even what I do, right? I'm author
Mhm.
centric. It's what is the most important piece, right? And I love the work that you do around the Enneagram. So we're going to talk about that today because I'm super excited to talk about that. Of course, if my followers who've been around for a while know that I'm a total assessment nerd. Like if there's an assessment out there, I've probably taken it. If I find
Yeah.
a new one, I'm like, ooh, I want to take this one. And really only because I find it so enlightening. I love to do it and then go, oh, that's so true, right? They got this right about me, and I love understanding myself better, understanding how I show up in the world. To your point,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
To other people, like how they see me, how as I interact with them, how they're experiencing what I bring to the table. So this is a newer one for me. I have done it, of course, but I
Mhm.
don't have a super deep understanding about it or its background or anything. So that may be true of some of my listeners as well. So start by telling us, what is that? What is the Enneagram really?
Yeah, I so agree with you, Clara Rose. I'm the same way. If there's a test out there, I've probably taken it. And I think the metaphor that I have recently landed on to explain the why behind the reason we love this so much is it helps us connect to our core, our true selves. I've been reading Brene Brown's new book, Strong Ground. And in the beginning, she talks about how she got this really painful injury while playing pickleball. And her physical therapist was explaining to her that she was overusing certain muscles and not connecting to her core. And that's what really led to that excruciating pain and suffering. And that so easily translates to how we show up in as leaders, how we show up in our work, in our personal lives, is sometimes we're disconnected from our true selves and our core, and we're overcompensating with parts of our personality or our egos that actually leads to pain and suffering for ourselves and others. The Enneagram is a framework that helps you see that exact thing. It's like our physical therapist that reveals the ways we're maybe misusing parts of ourselves or our egos, and reveals that those parts of us aren't actually our true selves. The Enneagram, it stands for a symbol that has 9 different points on a circle, and that there's 9 different core personality types. And rather than other personality tests that show you kind of your behavior or your preferences, the Enneagram gets to a deeper level in explaining why you do what you do. And from that core desire that's really driving everything, from our thought patterns to how we show up in our work to our way that we tend to react to certain things, can all be driven by that core deep desire. But the
Mm.
ways we compensate with that can cause that pain, that suffering, those injuries, because our
Mm.
egos tries to get at that deep desire in ways that ends up causing problems. So that's kind of it as a whole. Um, what do you think of that? What's striking you about that?
Um, I I think I love the analogy, right, that you give. Um, just like injuring yourself overexerting a muscle, right?
Mhm.
That makes so much sense. I've never heard it put that way, but is that's a perfect analogy, right, for it. And I have seen it like in my own business practices in my own life and others
Mhm.
around me as well, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I even experienced it significantly a number of years ago when I had a business partner who was so vastly different than I was. And we both had a love of the same kind of work, but we just completely different personalities, right? So,
Mm.
uh,
Mm.
my tendency to go, 100 miles an hour with my hair on fire, and her tendency to like everything was had to be slow. She was always putting on the brakes. So there was always this struggle between the two of us, how we did business, right? This push
Mhm.
me, pull me. Gosh, you're probably way too young to remember the push me, pull me. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's like a tale, a story, an old story, the push me, pull
Okay.
you. Yeah, I don't know if anyway, that reminds me, that was what that was like. It was like I was always trying to pull, "Come on, let's move, let's get some," right? Make a decision, hit the ground running, get the work
Mhm.
done, "Get out of my way, I'll do it myself," kind of.
Yep.
And hers was just the opposite personality where everything had to be slow, and it really ultimately was the demise of our partnership, right? We
Mm.
couldn't meet in the middle, but it was very personality driven, right? It
Yes.
didn't having we both had awesome strengths that should have worked beautifully together and did work beautifully together, but that other piece we couldn't clearly overcome, right? Because we're just
Mhm.
so personality different. So I think it can be hugely impactful in our business life, but it could be in personal life as well when your personalities are so
Absolutely.
vastly different.
Yes. It's so helpful to have the shared language of the Enneagram or
Mm,
other personality typing systems as well,
sure.
because it helps reveal that self awareness. Oh, I'm this way. And it sounds like
Mhm.
there's might be more of a go getter energy. And there's 3 types
Mm,
on the Enneagram that are go getters: the threes, the sevens, and the eights. But there's other types that are more withdrawn, where they're more
mm,
introverted, more internal processors, want to be slow and methodical. So fours, fives,
mhm,
and nines. And those two can cause a lot of friction. I'm a go
mm,
getter type. My husband's a withdrawn type. And we have that same like push pull. But
mm,
having the shared language of the Enneagram has brought a lot
mm,
of compassion to, oh, you're
mm,
not lazy. you're a 9. And
Right?
you're needing to really sit with things and think. You need a while to make a
Right.
decision, and I can understand
Right.
that it's coming from this core part of who he is, not just a behavior to annoy me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. You're not just trying to be difficult, right?
No. Yeah.
And that understanding is huge, right? Be
It's
understanding
really
that that other person is just wired differently. I think
Mhm.
I discovered that about myself a lot of years ago, that I am wired differently and that I'm one of those, I have to I don't mean to move at 100 miles an hour. I mean, I don't mean to roll over top of people. I'm like
Mhm.
a girl on a mission, right? So I'm
Yeah,
like, right? And if you happen to be in the road, I might run
yeah,
you over
yeah.
unintentionally and in love. I might just
Mhm.
run you down. So
Mhm.
I did, it wasn't from the Enneagram, but it was some other assessments, strength finders, and some of those things that helped me just understand that I'm wired differently. But
Yeah.
I was a grown woman by then. I was probably pushing 40 before I discovered that. So prior to that, I thought there was something wrong with me, right?
Mm. Mhm.
So that
Yeah,
you don't understand that, oh, I'm not broken. That person's not broken, and at least not in those ways, right? It's that
yeah.
it's a personality thing, right? So that
Mhm.
understanding, I think, is so important. And
Yeah,
of
and
course, everywhere in your life.
yeah, and to pull back on that physical therapy analogy is to recognize those that's your natural strength. Those muscles are easy
Hmm.
for you to use, but and
Hmm.
having that compassion, that understanding, I'm not broken. This is how I'm wired. But then also
Hmm.
recognizing it can be problematic if you overutilize that. And so that
Right.
awareness can help you just pump the brakes or get curious about the bigger picture. And this shows up in so many areas for us as writers of the way we
Mm-hmm.
show up and get our butt in the seat to write every day is going to be different
Hmm.
for each Enneagram type or our relationship to the audience. And
Hmm.
want whether some types are going to be more wanting that spotlight and excited about that, whereas others are like, I have
Hmm.
something to say, but oh, please don't put a camera in front of me. And so
Right.
understanding like, okay, this is coming from this deeper place in me and it's showing up in these specific ways. Okay. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
navigate, how do I reconnect with my true self and really have an appreciation for the gifts that that brings, but also unlearn some of those unhelpful patterns that
Hmm.
may be getting in our own way.
Right. Plus giving ourselves some grace, which
Hmm.
not a lot of people are good at giving themselves grace, right? You
That's
can
right.
be good at giving other people grace, but to give
Hmm.
yourself that, it's okay, right? This is the way that I'm wired, and that's okay. Right?
That's
So
okay.
it's a
Hmm.
deeper understanding, right? It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I am gonna tend to go 100 miles an hour, but when I work with clients or, coworkers or staff or whatever, I need to be
Mhm.
aware of that tendency so that I can, um, give them some grace, right? Understand, okay,
Mhm.
they're not gonna move at the pace that I do, and that's okay too, right? You
Yes.
don't have to go 100 miles an hour like I do. Right? So,
Hmm. Hmm.
I think it's a beautiful tool. Everybody
Yeah.
needs this. I'm just saying.
Yes. Yes, and it's having its moment in the spotlight. You may see Enneagram stuff kind of
Mhm,
popping up in pop culture
mhm,
and Instagram,
mhm,
and it's so interesting. It is super helpful. So I highly encourage you to kind of explore that. But also, it can be difficult. Really, it's such a nuanced tool because again, it's not what you're doing; it's why you're doing it, and those underlying
right.
motivations can take a while to like really sit with and uncover. But once you have that, it's like putting on prescription glasses for the first time where all of a sudden everything's
Right.
like, whoa, crystal clear and you see
Clear.
everything through the new lens. It's a really powerful experience, having that aha moment. And I feel like the
Mhm.
Enneagram gives that at such a deep level, which is so helpful.
So now, is this something that, I mean, you're trained in this and actually a couple of other things. Is this something that are there a lot of people out there trained in this? Do you, you know, you need to be careful who where you go for this, or, I don't know enough about that back end.
Yeah, I would say my only caution around it is that it's very easy for it to be memeified, so to speak. Like, oh, eights
Okay.
are like this, and sixes are
Mm-hmm.
like this, and like, um, and while some of that can be fun, especially when you're first just learning the types, because
Mm-hmm.
there's nine, there's lots of information. My one caution is that it's actually rooted in ancient oral traditions. And there's something that's really rung true for me, that the depth of it really comes through dialogue and talking about it, even in the context of with someone who is a certified person who has a lot of experience. It might there's definitely like a realm within the spiritual community that has Enneagram training, and then there's more like psychology um, route of it as well, and both are very legit. But I would
Okay.
say it's not a box to put people in, or to say, oh, all threes are this way and they look like
Sure.
this famous person, because it can look, it's
Right.
kind of like shades of color. There's lots of nuance, there's lots of different
Mm.
ways it can show up, and you can't always easily identify. It's very easy to mistype. I thought for a long time that I was an
Okay.
Enneagram 2, but I actually learned as I was getting certified that really I am an Enneagram 3, which that sounds like a silly statement, but it was pretty mind blowing to me because it had a huge
Mhm.
shift in my understanding of how I show up in the world. But I
Sure.
thought I was a 2 for like 10 years, and I knew a lot about the Enneagram.
Wow.
So, you know.
Wow. So then somebody helping you who has some experience, some depth of experience, helping you through
Mhm.
understanding. I think for me it was I someone sent me the assessment. I did the assessment and then I got this feedback and then that was it. It was part of a
Mm.
like a virtual summit kind of thing. So it was just one piece of a bunch of stuff. You just got this
Mm.
free thing. And so I did it
Yeah,
because I love assessments. And then I got this
yeah.
feedback and went, oh, this is pretty close, right? This is pretty right on about me. And then I just set it aside, right? So I didn't
Yeah.
get any feedback or deeper conversation around it. So I'd
Mhm.
be curious to know, how much of that, how, how accurate that is if you don't get that secondary part, right? Some professional to help you, like trying to write a book
Yeah.
on your own, right? Get some
Right,
help.
yeah. Yeah. I think, I would recommend, if someone's curious about it, to um, deep dive into kind of getting a broad overview. And when you hear the nine types, there might be a few, or you can take there's some assessments out there that, and I would look at not just the top ranking, but what might have been the top three choices, because you might be any of
Okay.
those. And then either
Okay.
read and or listen to someone talk about those in more depth, and then either with a mentor or a peer or an Enneagram certified coach, delve into, what does this look like in my life, in my career, in my personal setup,
Mm.
and unpack. And then there'll be that like seatbelt click. Yes, this is me. Or
Moment.
not just to like
Okay.
a report, but it's like it's something deeper, that where you have that, like you were saying, of like that, I feel known, I feel seen. You might even
Mm.
feel a little uncomfortable and exposed, because it is revealing maybe some things of like, I didn't know. It's like you're reading my thoughts, and when it's actually describing the core
Right.
pieces of you, that feels a little
Mm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I'd be curious about that for sure since I just had a superficial level, right? But I'm so fascinated by how it does impact. every area of your life. So that's
Mm,
definitely something I
mhm.
probably want to explore a little farther. Is this something that you do with all of your clients? Because this is just a piece of what you do. This is just
Yeah.
a tool that you use, right, in your
So
consulting practice.
yeah, and honestly, Clara Rose, it's not something I do with every client only because it is so
Okay.
deep and nuanced. The other
Okay.
certification that you read in my bio is Working
Mhm.
Genius. I also really love, but that's more immediately insightful and like I can grab onto it. It's a productivity tool, so it has this
Ah,
quicker onboarding process within a team
gotcha.
context. Whereas the
Mhm.
Enneagram's a deeper one-on-one, or like if you're ready to do the
Gotcha.
work. And not everyone is, and that's okay. That's okay.
True.
We're at
True.
we hit those points at different seasons in our life, and so
Right.
I have found it to be deeply helpful, and I am so excited to be a certified practitioner so I can guide people if or when that's a tool that feels appropriate for their
For
season.
them. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So the Working Genius, is that also an assessment? You start with that?
It is, yes,
Because
and
I
I
haven't
might
done
have
that
to
one.
send you one because it's also so fun, and I could talk about it all day.
Uh,
That one's a little bit more personality, but more
mm,
productivity, and how do I show up in a
mm,
work process, and what aspects of work
mm,
feel like flow and bring joy,
mm,
and what areas feel frustrating. And the Enneagram layers with Working Genius really well because the Working Genius is
mm,
sort of like, here's what's showing up and why I do what I do and my patterns and why
mm.
I like certain things. But then that Enneagram is like that lower, deeper level of
Right.
motivation.
Of
So
knowing. Yeah. Ooh, I probably need to do that for sure.
I, yeah, we'll have to do a follow up. I'll give you the assessment and then we can talk about it another time. But
That
yeah,
would be super fun. That would
I
be
love
super
geeking out
fun
about
for
that.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there so before I want to talk about your book, but before we do, is there a place where others who are like, "Ooh, I need that as well," so that we
Mm.
should send them so that they can connect with you for that piece?
Yeah. So what you see on the screen is actually my marketing website. I have a marketing
Okay.
agency as well, but alliejonesconsulting.com is my coaching side of things. And so that's
Okay.
where you can learn more about my Enneagram services.
Okay.
And so specifically, if this is sparking like, oh, I want to hear more, I love to lead people through workshops to talk more in depth of the Enneagram because we didn't even
Okay.
really, there's 9 types. Each one
Right.
is kind of
Right.
fascinating to learn more about. And it takes more time than really we have on this
Sure.
podcast. So, um, and you could invite me to come speak at your organization,
Yeah. Yeah.
or we can, yeah. And so, yeah, here's Allie Jones
Yeah.
Consulting.
Here's.
Or if the Working Genius is sparking some interest for you, you can read more about that. But this is a great
Okay.
landing page to connect with me and see either one on one or within your organization or facilitating a group conversation. Is something you'd like
Okay.
to learn more about.
Okay. And maybe we'll just have you come back on the show another time and do maybe a deeper dive into, because we only get 30 minutes together,
Yeah.
a deeper dive into the different pieces of the Enneagram, and maybe a different time talk about the pieces of the Working Genius. Because I love stuff like that. And I think people are fascinated by the tools that they can use to improve
Yeah,
their lives. Right? And I think those are both
absolutely.
tools that people
Mhm.
could at different times use to improve work-life balance, or,
Yeah.
workplace interactions, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
personal relationships, all those things. Okay, so I don't want to run out of time before we talk about your book, because
Yes.
of course I'm a publisher,
Yeah.
that's what I do. So tell me about your book.
So this is my book. It's called Reflect and Envision. And let's see if I can get the lighting to cooperate here. It's a small reflective guide that I created, and it's meant to help you through the season between Christmas and New Year's. That liminal space that transition time, because really at the heart of what I love talking about is how we navigate those transitions in big moments and in small moments. Every year, that few days in between Christmas and New Year's, I'd always find myself pulling out my journal and reflecting on everything that happened and naming the season that I'm leaving and the year behind. And then not so much New Year's resolutions, but more intentional naming what I hope for in the year to come. So it's a mix of some small essays
I
and
love
then
that.
some guide to help you do just that. Reflect on what the you're leaving, and then envision the next year. And so I
I love that.
self-published this, kind of scrappy and small, and so I was excited to connect with you of wanting to get back more into my own voice and speaking up and
Mhm.
putting stuff out. So I totally love and connect with what you're doing and how you empower others to do that. So I'm hoping to do more of that in my own in the years to come.
Yes, let's talk about your next book. I love
Yeah.
that you tackled something that nobody talks about really, right? People don't talk about the fact that, there's this big build up to the holidays, right? And then this big build up to Christmas and the fun and the festivities and the family, and then there's almost a letdown afterwards, uh,
Mhm,
and a season of reflection. But people don't really talk about it. I think
mhm.
in our lives, we are very goal oriented, focused people. So we do every year between Christmas and New Year's, we look back. Okay, what did we accomplish this year? Where are we going next year? Let's look at our 5 year and our 10-year plan. And I
Yeah,
know not everyone's that kind of nerd, but we are those nerds,
I
right?
love
And
it.
it's to reflect and envision, what do we want for the future? What went right
Mhm,
this past year? What went wrong? Because there's always, things shift and change. What does that mean for this next year? How does that change what we want in 5 years or 10 years? Although, I'm 60 now, so we're not, thinking as much about the 10-year other than, man, we're probably going to retire right before I'm 70. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
I think that's not talked about. So I think that's awesome that you
Mhm.
created um, and jumped in and actually wrote a book about it. Even though you self-published and got it out there yourself, I think it's
Yeah.
an accomplishment that most people don't get around to. I'm gonna write a book, and then they never do. So congratulations that you have a book. I'm assuming it's on
Yeah.
Amazon if anyone's interested in going and grabbing themselves a copy.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
assuming that
Yeah.
that's where
Check it
that
out.
is. Yeah. Okay.
And we'll definitely be doing some promotion as it's coming into the next season. But a lot of us have that. I want to write a book feeling inside of
Mhm.
us, but
Yep.
there's something so powerful about naming it. And maybe 2026 is the year.
Yeah. Is the
And
year. Is the year.
yeah, to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to do it even though you're scared and or
Yep.
not sure how to navigate it. And you call Clara Rose and
Yeah.
she helps you
And she
figure it out.
helps you. That's right. Okay, we are out of time, but thank you, Allie, for being here. We'll for sure have you back on the show again. For sure. Thanks so much.
Mhm.
All right, guys. Fascinating stuff. We will definitely have her back to talk again about those tools because I think they can help anybody. Before we go, of course, I do want to say if you are in that season of your life, you're ready. This is my time to get my book out of my head and out to the world. I would love to invite you to join one of our cohorts where we could do that together as a group. Or, of course, I'm happy to work one on one with you if that's your preference. You can go to craftingyourmessage.com, hop on my calendar, and let's chat about your book. Just hop on my schedule. Let's chat about what it is that you're trying to accomplish and whether you're a good fit for a group or if you prefer the one on one. Or you can hop over to the Facebook community, the Savvy Author community, and join it for free because there's lots of great stuff there about getting you started on your book. So, we're out of time, but I will see you same place, same time next week, my friends. Thanks for being here.